Robotronics, and today I'd like to introduce you to a special friend of mine. Hey Sparky!
Hey Carla, what's going on today?
We're going to show people all the cool things you can do.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can do so much cool stuff.
Here we have the carrying case for your controls and voice pieces. Here's the RC. An important thing to notice about the RC is that the bottom side of the RC should go against this side of the case so that when you close it and pick it up, the RC will not be resting on the antenna. Here we have an extra battery for the RC, and this is a neck strap that you can put on to help keep your RC safe while you're using the RC. It clips onto here. Over here we have the two different voice pieces for the robot. The VHF unit is for the hearing side from the robot to the operator, and the UHF is for the operator to the robot, part of the voice system. Here we have adapters for charging the battery either in the RC or externally to the RC. And here is our headset, which has the microphone and earpiece. And here we have the LCD interface. Charging the battery for your robot is really easy. We're going to use this charger right here, and we're going to connect the ground, black one, to the ground side, which has the negative symbol, and the red to the plus side. When we do that, we're going to have a light will turn on here, and when it's done charging, it will turn green, and you're good to go. Here's the battery for the RC, and when you charge it, if you're charging it external to the RC, we use this adapter and plug it in here. It's got a little tab on it that makes it so you can only plug it in one way. And when you plug it in, the light on your RC battery charger will come on as long as it's plugged in and charging. You're only going to want to charge the battery for, it takes about 4 hours to charge up the battery, and you can leave it on longer than 4 hours, but don't leave it on longer than 14 hours. And that's for charging it external to the RC. It's also possible to charge the RC battery inside the RC. Plug it in here. I kind of like to tuck that connector in that hole a little bit. Makes it easier to get the battery in place. We put that on. And then this is where we can plug in the connector for the external charging, or for the internal charging. We switch to this other adapter and then plug it in. That allows us to charge the battery while it's still in the RC. So both voice pieces use a 9-volt battery. For the VHF, we have it back here. The door slides off, and that ribbon helps us take the battery in and out. Hold back on there. To get at the battery for the UHF unit on the front, there's this little arrow here that we push down on, and that's where we get to on this battery. In both cases, make sure you check carefully to see which side is the plus, and then the plus on the inside is marked. You don't want to flip the battery the wrong direction. Then when we plug in the headset, the the connector that has talk on it is what gets plugged into the UHF side, and the other one that doesn't have a label on it gets plugged into the output that says headphone on it. On the VHF unit, it has a volume knob right here, and when you're getting reception, this light will turn green. The LED that's marked that is red and has low battery on it will, when you first turn it on, you'll see that pop on for a little bit, red, and that's normal. It's only when you're operating it and you see that that light turns on that that's an indication that the battery has gone low and that it's time to replace the battery. On the UHF unit, you just have a 3-position switch, off, standby, and on. Basically, you're just going to want to use that in the on position. And then the same for this LED. It'll briefly flash when you first turn it on, but it's only when it stays on during operation that the battery is low. At times you're going to want to be able to take the top of the Sparky robot off. It makes it easier for transporting, and also it can make putting the battery in the robot easier, and if you need any access to the inside of the electronics to make some adjustments or anything like that. So to remove the Sparky top, there's 4 pins that we need to release those pins to get the top off. There's one on this side of the robot, this side, and then there's 2 in the back. The ones up in the front are on the inside right here. The best way to do it is reach in with 2 fingers, grab both sides of the pin and pull on it. And you can pull it to release it and push on it to lock it in place. And you're going to do that on both sides. Pull them out. And then in the back there's some similar pins, but those are on the inside of the robot. We pull those out. Once we have all 4 released, in the back of the Sparky robot we have this hatch. It's just velcroed on, so we just pull up on it and it'll come off. And that gives us access to a few things. Down in here we can reach the on-off switch. If you have a water squirter, then that's how we can take the bottle in and out when we refill the water squirter. And you can put the battery down through here, but it's a little bit harder. Some people are fine doing that. Other people would prefer to take the entire top off to put the battery in and out. After we've released the 4 locking pins, then we're going to disconnect the 16-pin ring connector by turning the ring counterclockwise, lifting the connector off. Then we grab the robot in the middle here, tip it that direction, and you can lift the top up that way to allow us to get everything inside. To make use of the LCD interface, we need to plug in the 9-pin connector here and turn that ring clockwise until it locks in place. And then you can turn the robot on. After the robot's done booting up, we'll get this right here, which tells the version of the code that's in your robot. Any of these buttons should say up, down, right, left. And then to go into changing the settings, we press the center select button, and now we can do up and down. We'll scroll through the menu items. The ones you have is random mode. If you go in there, then you can choose between having all of the random features on, which include the head randomly turning right and left just a little bit to make him seem more alive. And then also you can have where it's just the eyes are on, where the eyes will randomly blink and also look to the right and left a little bit, or you can turn all of the functions off. If you don't want to do any of that, then you can go to exit and press exit. And then the next menu item we have are setting the drives. We do that at the factory. You shouldn't need to do it. Here we have the electronics for the robot. This board right here is the main processor board, the main brains for the robot, and you'll notice that it has a blinking LED on there. When it doesn't have a signal from the RC, then it blinks slow at this rate, but when we turn it on, you'll see that it's blinking faster, and that's saying it's getting a good signal. This board over here is the MP3 player, and this is where the SD card is. So with the robot off, you can push on that and change out your SD card. So you can add songs and change the sound effects if you want. This board over here is a servo on-off board. It's where we connect our servos and where we can plug in features such as the headlights, or the emergency lights can get plugged into here. This board is the motor control board for driving the robot around. This is our power distribution board that provides voltages for the different boards. This board over here is our audio mixer board, where the audio from the voice systems comes into here and then gets combined with the MP3 player's audio and goes out to this unit here, which is the amplifier for the robot. There's a volume control here if you want to make some adjustments to the volume. This piece here is the UHF receiver. This is receives the audio from the operator to the robot. And there's a power button here for it. You're normally going to want that on and see the red light. There's some green lights that are a little bit harder to see, but when you're talking, you should be able to see some green LEDs flashing to indicate that you're receiving a good signal there. If you have a voice modifier, this is your voice modifier. Normally you're going to want this knob turned all the way to the max position, and this next knob doesn't really matter. This knob here is for controlling how high or low your voice is, and then this knob you're going to want turned completely counterclockwise to this pitch shifter position for you to be able to have your voice and where you would like it to be. If you have a water squirter, this is the pump for the water squirter, and then back here is where the when we turn on the RC, you're going to see a switch error. To clear that switch error, these three switches need to be pushed towards the up position, and then this switch over here, pull it briefly towards you, and that will turn off the error. That is a protection built into the RC so that a person operating something will not accidentally start controlling their robot before they're ready to. So you're aware of what's going on with the robot. Here we have the drive stick. This stick over here will be for driving the robot. You push forward to get the robot to go forward, backwards to get the robot to go backwards, or side to side for turning the robot. This stick over here is for controlling Sparky's head. The side to side will turn his head side to side, and if we move the stick up a little bit, instead of his whole head turning, just his eyes will turn right to left. And then if we push the stick all the way up and to the right, it will blink his right eye. And if we do the stick all the way up and to the left, he'll blink his left eye. And if we bring the stick all the way down, he'll close both eyes. These 4 switches are momentary switches that are used for controlling different functions of the Sparky robot. Pressing this one down will toggle the headlights on. Press it down again will turn the headlights off. Press it up, that'll toggle the emergency lights on, and again to turn it off. This switch is not used in the Sparky robot. This switch over here, the down position doesn't do anything. The up position, if you have a water squirter installed in your Sparky robot, will activate the water squirter for as long as you're holding it down, and then the water squirter will stop when you let go. Over here, we have the siren while we're holding it down, and it will stop when you let go. This position up here will give Sparky a surprised look where his eyelids will kind of raise, and that will stop when you let go. To control the functions of the MP3 player, we're going to hold this switch up, and this switch over here in the down position will stop any song that's currently playing. In the up position will start playing any song that's currently queued to play. If you press it again, that will pause the song. Press it again, it will start playing again from where it's currently at. This switch here advances through the tracks, either forward if you push up and backwards if you press down, and will also start playing the song that is next in the queue. These 2 switches over here are for 4 different sound effects, so each position has its own sound effect associated with it. And up here, you don't have to hold the switch down to change the volume. This is the volume control for the MP3 player. And then also this knob over here is the volume for the operator's voice. When we have the voice all the way down, then that will mute your voice, and it will also make it so that Sparky's mouth won't move when you're talking. It's possible for you to turn it up just a little bit and your voice will still be muted, but when you talk through the microphone, Sparky's mouth will move while you're talking, which would allow you to kind of do a lip syncing thing. If you're playing a song, you could sing along to the song. Sparky's mouth would move, making it look like he's singing, but they won't hear you doing it. And then if you turn it up higher, then of course you're going to start hearing your voice through Sparky. Thanks for watching. We hope you found this video to be helpful.
And if you need to contact us, please check out the link below.